Hey everybody, this is your quick, hopefully, video of review for our quiz this week. This is for Friday. Remember that our quiz includes multiplication of fractions, multiplication of mixed numbers, division of fractions, division of mixed numbers. They'll have more of the multiplication of fractions problems than the other because those are pretty fast. But you should be expected to understand how to turn that mixed number into an improper fraction so you can multiply it, or so we can do the division where you invert and multiply. We'll go over that in this video. So take a moment. Our first problem is 3/4 times 2/9. Go ahead and pause the video and solve that yourself, and then I'll follow along. Then you can start the video again and follow along as I solve it. So go ahead and pause and solve it for yourself, and then come back when you're done. Great. Okay, so here we go. Let's solve it. So remember, multiplication of fractions is the easiest thing you can do with fractions. And so you're just going to multiply across the top. You're going to multiply across the bottom. The numerator's multiplied. 3 times 2 is going to give you 6. 4 times 9, that's going to give you 36. All right? Having those math facts down is going to be really, really helpful. I will have multiplication charts available for people because this is a quiz on whether or not you know how to do the fractions and division, multiplication and division of fractions. This is not a math fact quiz. So I'll have multiplication tables available to you, but you're going to want to know how to do the procedure here. So 3 times 2 is 6, 4 times 9 is 36. Then we have to remember that in order to get full credit for this the question, you have to make sure that your answer is in its simplest form. You want to simplify those fractions. So can 6/36 simplify? Absolutely it can. You may not know the largest factor that goes into both, but at least you know 2 does because they're both an even number. But when you know your math facts, you'll know that the largest factor that goes into both would be 6. So we're going to divide the numerator and the denominator by 6. And I end up with 6 divided by 6 is 1. 36 divided by 6 is 6. Your final answer should be 1/6 to get full credit. In order to get full credit for this quiz, for this problem, you're going to want to have, you have a problem, you're going to want to have your show me that you multiplied. I want to see what factor you're dividing it by here to simplify it, and then I want to see your most simplified answer. If you had done by 2, if you couldn't remember that 6 was the largest factor that goes into both, if you divided it by 2, you would have ended up with 3/18. And my hope is that you would look at that and go, well, 3 goes into 18. And you would divide it again by 3, the top and the bottom by 3. Ultimately, you do want to find the largest, the greatest factor they have in common, right? But either way, you'll end up with 1/6 if you simplify it all the way. All right, so I don't care. You'll get full credit for a question if you simplify it and then realize, oops, I need to simplify it again. As long as you get it to the lowest, the most simplified answer, I'm fine. All right, next question. Here is, so that's our only fraction, multiplied by fraction question we're going to do right now in this video, but here's a mixed number times a fraction. So this is something that could appear on the quiz. Go ahead and write it down in your journal and solve it, and then unpause when you are ready to go, and we'll check it together. Your homework is to make sure that you've solved these problems in your journal. I want to see a photo of your journal. So I'm looking for, you're going to do 4 problems in this video, and I want to see all 4 of them in your journal. So make sure that they are ready to go. All right. All right, so you had plenty of time there. Hopefully you paused the video and solved. The first step we have to do is turn this improper fraction, or excuse me, this mixed number into an improper fraction. It's a whole number and a fraction. We can't multiply across the top and across the bottom yet because we have this whole number to deal with. So this needs to be shown in your notes, and on the quiz, I want to see how do we turn this mixed number into an improper fraction. So 2 1/3. Remember that you multiply the whole number times the denominator, and you add the numerator, and that becomes our new numerator. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. The denominator stays the same. So 7 thirds times 3/5. That is our new multiplication problem. We turned 2 1/3 into 7/3, and 3/5 is what's being multiplied. Now we can just multiply across the top and multiply across the bottom like we've been doing. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 5 is 15. So now I have 21/15. That's a improper fraction. It's top heavy, so it needs to be simplified. We need to simplify it also by turning it back into a mixed number. So there's a couple of different ways that you could turn it back into a mixed number. You can, on your quiz, show me this. Do a division problem. 21 divided by 15. Remember that this line right here, this fraction bar, means divided by. 21 divided by 15. 15 goes to 21 just one time. 1 times 15 is 15. Subtract. We got 6. This is our numerator. Our denominator stays the same. 1 6/15. All right. So this equals 1 6/15, which is a fraction that can simplify. But before we go there, I want to show you the other way that you could turn it into a mixed number. If you had your 21/15, you could think about how many giant ones is that. We know that our denominator is 15. So our numerator, to make this a giant 1, needs to be 15. So 15/15 is equal to 1 whole, right? And what's left? Well, there's 6/15 left over. So we know that this is 1 6/15. So you can either show me the method of counting off your giant ones to figure out how to turn an improper fraction into a mixed number, or you can do it by division, okay? Either one of those two is acceptable. So this would be a fine way to show me how you turned your improper fraction into a mixed number, or this would be a fine way to show me how to turn your improper fraction into a mixed number. But either way, here we ended up with 1 6/15, here we ended up with 1 6/15, but 6/15 can simplify. Now remember, this mixed number, this 1 here, tells me that I have 1 whole pizza. That doesn't get simplified. That doesn't need to be worried at all. So we know that our final answer is going to be 1 and something. But 6/15 simplifies. What number divides into 6 that also divides into 15? What's my common factor for both the numerator and the denominator? And that answer is 3. 3 goes into both. So if I divide the top by 3, if I divide the bottom by 3, I end up with 2/5. So 1 6/15 is the same thing as 1 2/5. All right, that's a lot of steps, right? So we're only have one of our multiplication of mixed number problems on the quiz. We'll have more of these fractions times fraction problems on the quiz because those are a little faster. But these mixed number ones take a little more time, so you'll only have one of those. We'll probably have 2 of the other, right? So I'm going to need to see on the quiz that you've turned your mixed number into an improper fraction, that you multiplied it. If it ends up being an improper answer, you need to turn it back into a mixed number, and then make sure that that fraction is simplified. All right? Those are 2 kinds of multiplication: fraction on fraction, fraction and mixed number. Give me a second, and I'll get us set up to do a division of fractions and a division with mixed numbers. All right? Okay, here we go. Here's our division problem. Go ahead and pause the video after you've written it down and solve it yourself, and then watch the video again to make sure that you got that you're on the right track here. Again, I'm checking your notebooks, and you're going to take a photo of this page of the notes that you're taking so I can see this work. So go ahead, 4/5 divided by 1/3. Unpause the video when you're ready to go. All right, so remember that this second fraction is what we're doing the movement to before we can divide. And our focus is either to take the reciprocal, or the other word is invert. Both mean to take your fraction of 1/3 and turn this into a multiplication problem by flipping it upside down. You're gonna invert it. You're gonna take that fraction and flip it on its head. So on your quiz, I want to see that you are actually rewriting this problem. Don't cut any corners. Don't start crossing this out and changing it. You're going to rewrite that problem down here, that we're going to take this and invert it. So it is 3 over 1 now instead of 1 over 3. We're going to flip it over on its head. Once we've done that, that turns from a division problem into a multiplication problem. And now we just multiply like normal, across the top, across the bottom, right? But this additional step of flipping that fraction over is what I need to see on your quiz to get full credit. 4 times 3 is 12. 5 times 1 is 5. Right? Pretty friendly. But now we've got this top-heavy improper fraction that we need to resolve to be able to get full credit for this question. So again, you can either do a division problem, 12 divided by 5. 5 goes into 12 twice. 2 times 5 is 10. Subtract. I have 2 left over. The remainder is my numerator. The denominator stays the same. Look at that. We get 2 and 2/5. I need to see either this, or you could solve it with showing me your giant ones. All right? So 12/5 is the same thing as 5/5. There's a giant 1. Something's cut into 5 pieces. We have all 5 of them. That's equal to 1. But I have 12 of these fifths. So this is 5 of them. I have another 5/5 in here. There's another giant 1. 5/5 plus 5/5, that's 10/5. What's left? 2/5. So this equals 1, 2, and 2/5. Fortunately, 2/5 is a fraction that cannot simplify. There's no factor that divides into 2 that also goes into 5 that will make this fraction simpler. So you're done. So I need to see, invert the fraction, multiply, it's top heavy, turn it into a mixed number with either of these two methods. I want to see the work for this or the work for this to show me how you got it turned back into an improper. All right, last question. This is one of those mixed numbers divided by fraction. Go ahead and pause it and solve it, and unpause the video when you're ready to go. Okay, here we go. So our first step is to turn this mixed number into an improper fraction so that we have just a fraction that we're dealing with. 2 and 2/4, that turns into, we multiply the denominator times the whole number, we add the numerator. So 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. The denominator stays the same. So 2 and 2/4 equals 10/4. I like seeing this work up here so I know what we're dealing with. 10/4. Ring-a-dingy. It's a division problem when it is a fraction, but you can invert this fraction, flip it on its head, and now it becomes multiplication, right? 10/4 times 5/3 is the same thing as 2 and 2/4 divided by 3/5. We're just following our steps, right? These are the same problem. We just have changed it to have equivalent values, right? So now I can multiply. 10 times 5 is 50. 4 times 3 is 12. All right? We've multiplied across the top, multiplied across the bottom. We've got a top-heavy improper fraction. So we have two methods. You can either do it with division, or you could do it with a giant 1. All right? I don't need to see both. I just need to see one method or the other. All right? So, bloop, 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 bloop. All right, so 50 divided by 12. Well, how many 12s are there in 50? That would be 4. 4 times 12 is 48. I end up with 2. This is my remainder. It goes in the numerator. My denominator stays the same. Or I can do my giant ones. 50, oh, not 15. Try again there. 50 twelfths equals 12 twelfths. That's a giant 1. Something's cut into 12 pieces and I have all 12 of them. But how many 12s are there in 50? 12 plus 12 is 24. So you could, if you need to, you could do this. You can go 12 plus 12 equals 24, plus another 12, that equals 36, plus another 12, that equals 48, plus another 12 equals 60. Nope, that's too big because we only have 50. So we don't want this one, but 12 times 12, here's one of them, here's two, here's three, here's four. There's 4 giant ones. 12 twelfths plus 12 twelfths plus 12 twelfths. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 giant ones. That takes me to 48. 12 plus 12 is 24, plus 12 is 36, plus 12 is 48. But I have 50. That means I have 2 twelfths left over. So that gives me a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 twelfths. All right, so I end up with 4 and 2 twelfths as my mixed number. But then Stinky Mr. Adele wrote a problem that has a fraction that can simplify. Remember, my four whole pizzas, that doesn't simplify. That's still, 4 is still gonna be in my final answer. But 2 twelfths can simplify. What numbers, what factors of will go divide into 2 that also into 12? That would be 2. So if I divide the top by 2, if I divide the bottom by 2, I end up with 1/6. 4 and 1/6 should be your final answer. I think we get it all on the screen here. There we go. What? Come on, get on there. All right, so this is a lot. This is a lot of calculation to do, but you can do it. You guys are worthy of the task. Take your mixed number, turn it to an improper fraction. Invert your second fraction. Multiply. You got an improper fraction. Even if you just get to this point, you'll get some points for this question. You may not get all of them, but you get some of them. But then we got to turn this improper fraction back into a mixed number and make sure that the fraction is simplified. All right? So that is Friday's quiz. And don't forget, Friday is also a notebook check. So you're going to take a quiz on Friday, and then you're going to hand your notebook to me. That means I can spend a lot of my weekend doing math work, looking over your stuff, all right? So I'll have it all ready for you on Monday. But you're going to want to make sure that Friday you have your notebook here and that you have made sure that you ask those questions. This video is coming to you on Tuesday night or Tuesday afternoon. So make sure that you ask me questions at office hours if you have any questions about any of this, okay? Or lunchtime on Thursday, right? There's lots of time for you to check in with me if you need any help. Good luck. Thanks a lot. Don't forget to take a photograph of the notes that you took in your journal and attach it to this assignment that this video came to you in, all right? Thank you. Have a great day.